Hi, I'm Ed Locke with USA Mortgage. Here at USA Mortgage, we view you as customer for life. That means we are with you every step of your journey to help before, during, and well after you move into your new home. Home buying can be stressful, but we are here to make the process easy. I know drive and determination with my very talented team here at USA Mortgage will make for some incredible things. You can expect to receive great customer service from me with many customized options tailored to your financial goals and needs. So if you're looking to cruise into a new home or refinance, I can be the driver that gets you there. Call or text me at 502-680-0953 to find out how to get approved. MLS ID 448908. That's Acquisition LLC, doing business as USA Mortgage, NMLS ID 227262. This is not a commitment to lend. Additional terms and conditions apply. USA Mortgage is an equal housing opportunity.
You have scoured the podcast world. You have finally found the place where news is weighed in the balance. Welcome to Newsworthy with Steve and Jerry. 2 words and 2 question marks.
Jerry, we are live and in the house.
Yes, we are once again.
And that is great. It's good stuff. Good stuff. How are you?
I'm great. I know you are.
I am.
You got to see me again.
Oh boy. Yeah, there's that. About that, actually, I don't know. That's a tough thing to just say.
What, that you're happy to see me? You say it all the time.
I am happy to see you. That's
There
true. You know, there's something that I just recently, within the last year, decided that I really like, and
What's
it's
that?
actually relevant, is beer cheese.
Beer cheese. I love that.
Well, I didn't realize I liked it until very recently. And now when I go to restaurants, it's one of my favorite things to get as an appetizer. I bring that up because today is National Pretzel Day. And nothing goes with beer cheese better than pretzels.
I agree.
Yum.
I love both. Kentucky beer cheese. They sell it at Kroger. It's the best beer cheese I've ever had.
Really?
Yep.
Huh. I'll have to try it.
I like that stuff.
Huh.
Well, yes, I do. What's your favorite kind?
The best I've ever had is at this little restaurant, and the name escapes me. It's in this shopping plaza up in Louisville, and they sell it. It comes with, it's really, really, you can get it either tangy or spicy. This is very spicy, and it comes with these little pretzel bites. Like they just take a big pretzel and they cut it up and bring it out to you, but they're so salty. It is delicious. I mean, delicious. Like you dip it and it's almost dripping off of it. It's like a really liquidy beer cheese. I've had some that are very dry, but this is a very liquidy, very spicy beer cheese, and it's delicious. Just amazing. Hi, Double. Glad you're here.
Sounds like it would be very good.
It is.
You don't remember the name of the restaurant, though?
I don't. And you know what? I'll try to figure it out. It was one of those, my good buddy Steph and I go out and have dinner occasionally. Mm-hmm. And it was one of those, we got together and had dinner at that place that night. The food was unremarkable, but that appetizer was amazing.
Oh, good.
Yep. So, Jerry, guess what we got?
We have the OG back.
After a couple of weeks of really not so good wines. I'm done with not so good. So I went and got us some good wine.
You went with the old adage in the grocery business, which is go with the best, to hell with the rest. We went with the OG, Stella Rosa Black.
Stella Rosa Black. And not only did we go with Stella Rosa Black, we went with, listen to that pour. We went with how would you
55-gallon drum.
yeah, that's what I would say that
A
is.
rather large bottle, I would say.
Well, these new glasses, Mike got us some newsworthy wine glasses, which we just love. But you fill up both those, and I know you're not supposed to fill them up, but hell, we're dudes, right? We chug, we drink,
Yeah.
we don't sip. So, but you fill those up, and then the whole bottle's gone, and then you don't get
Yeah.
any more, and that just seems not very satisfying. So, hence the bigger bottle.
There was 2 ways to fix that: smaller glasses or bigger bottle of wine.
Bigger bottle's the way to go.
That's the only way to address that problem.
Huh?
That's the only way to address that problem.
So I got to tell you, Jerry, I don't know if you were aware, but somebody the other day broke into my shed and they stole my limbo stick.
Your limbo stick.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I mean, how low can you go?
Apparently pretty low.
That joke is brought to you courtesy of Double Infinity.
Very nice.
I guess she got tired of me telling really bad dad jokes. So
the only way to fix that was to supply them herself.
Oh gosh,
I had a problem this week. My kids refused to eat leftover tacos.
Really?
Yeah. Wife told me to just throw them out, and I did, but I have no idea what the hell to do with the tacos.
I love it. You know, that's funny. I love that. I love a variation of that joke.
Which is?
I made fish tacos the other night.
Okay.
But they just swam away. They didn't like them.
Do you ever make fish tacos?
I don't like fish. I don't like fish that much.
But you eat it. You go to Long John Silver's, you told me once a year.
Oh, yeah, I like Long Johns, but that's not real fish, right?
Of course it is. That's real fish.
Oh, okay.
You thought they were using fake artificial fish on their menus?
Sure, why not?
No.
I do like it, but see, it's kind of like White Castles. I can't eat that a lot. It's too greasy, too much. However, years ago, when there were Long John Silver's more about, there's very few of them now.
Yeah, almost gone.
I worked with a guy whose wife was a district manager for Long John Silver's.
Okay.
And she said, if you ever want to get great service at Long John Silver's, you simply mention the fold of the fish. And what that means and what that tells the people is that you or somebody from corporate, because that is the corporate term for how much batter is on the fish and what the fish looks like when it comes out of the grease.
Gotcha.
And I did that for years and never, I mean, it was fresh, it was hot, it was perfect. It even looked like it was on the pictures, the plate that you would get.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, you don't get that very often. But I'm pretty sure old Jack is long since passed, and I'm sure his wife has too at this point. But
I just searched for Long John Silver's locations near me. There's one in Shelbyville. There's one in Danville.
I think the one in Danville's closed.
Maybe. Even so, the next closest one was LaGrange.
Yeah, I've been to that one.
2, other than LaGrange, which that's a long way. Yeah, that's sad.
Yeah, well, it happens. I mean, that's the way of things, right?
But how is there still Captain D's everywhere?
Captain D's is awesome, dude.
Thought it was better than Long John's?
Oh, yeah. I'm taking your picture. Don't get out of the picture.
I was trying to get out of the bright light behind you.
Oh. See. Oh, man.
So you had a good week?
Dude. Listen. So in real estate, in your first couple of years, you have to do what they call PLE training, which is just post-license training.
Okay.
Well, that, when you get into the business and you start doing business, a lot of people, when they come in, they struggle. It takes them a while to get going. So they're using that the PLE to fill their time, to just kind of get their feet wet. I was very, very blessed when I came into real estate that I hit the ground running. And I didn't even think about that PLE training until a couple of weeks ago. I got an email from the state saying, "Hey, Steve, you have to do a bunch of PLE training, and it has to be done within a couple of weeks, and we're going to pull your license." So I have been working nonstop since then to get this PLE done. And it's nobody's fault but my own. I knew it was there, knew I had to do it, completely forgot about it, blew it off, whatever. And now I am paying the piper.
I would have thought the real estate agency that you work with would have helped keep track of that.
Sometimes, but it comes down to we're adults.
Well, I get it.
I mean,
but the people you're talking about are adults in a brand new profession that they've never been in before. So there's a lot of things that, for the guys who've been doing it 10, 15, 20 years, that comes second nature. But to the guy who's brand new to the industry, did you even know this was required until you got the letter from the state?
Oh, yeah. I mean, they talk about it in your school when you pass your test.
You just forgot it.
Just forgot it. I mean, literally. Like I say, most people come in and they kind of struggle their first year or two. They really do. And I was very, very blessed that wasn't the case for me. Not to toot my own horn, but out of 4,000 some agents in Kentucky, rookie of the year when I came in. So I came in, blazing basically. So yeah, just blew it out. Just forgot it.
Very easy to do, I'm sure.
Paying the piper now. So I have been, what's the word for exhaustion? And then multiply that. That's where I'm at, sort of right here. Hopefully tomorrow will be the last day, and I'll have it all wrapped up. And then the goal is to be wrapped up tomorrow so that I can take a day off Friday. I haven't had a full day off with nothing going on for a long time. So it's going to be really nice to have that.
Everyone needs that occasionally.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do.
You was talking about the realtors. It made me remember something I thought I'd read a long time ago. I just Googled it. Over 87% of real estate agents do not last 2 years.
Yeah, no.
87%. That's a huge failure rate.
It is. And here's why. I honestly believe it's like so many other things. If you are a real estate agent and you're brand new and you go into, how do I put this? You have to go into this business, as with any business, I believe. And when you go in to talk to people at different agencies or whatever, as much as they're interviewing you, you need to be interviewing them. What do you offer me? Where's my training? How many people in this office has been doing this and is willing to help out? And I'm just going to be blunt. I spoke to 6, 7 agencies before I chose Century 21 here in Lawrenceburg. And I didn't feel that everywhere. When I walked into there, it was like, hey, come on in. And a 10-minute conversation turned into 2.5 hours. You have to know what you're getting into. A lot of people go in, they think they're going to get a regular check. You don't get regular checks as a real estate agent. So you have 2 options: work a second job or work hard.
Or the industry is known for being a great job for housewives.
Sure.
Because in many cases, they've got a husband who's the primary breadwinner. They don't have to have her income. They don't depend upon her income. So when she's first starting off and she's going through the learning phase,
that's switched
true.
a lot now.
No, I agree. But historically, that's years ago, that's what it was known for. And because you're right, for a year or two, historically, the business paid very, very little to those people who didn't have the experience.
Yeah, and it's one of those catch-22s. You're not going to get a lot of business without that experience.
Yep.
But you are going to get the experience.
Put in the time with
Right.
low money.
Right. And again, I was very blessed there. I had come into a situation, I had a little savings saved up and was able to make that happen. But I have what I was going toward a minute ago. I just have an amazing team that I work with. I sat down and figured it up the other day. There's almost 200 years of experience at the office that I work at. And in many offices, it's a competition. Oh, I can't help you because that might hurt me. And that's not the way it is in my office. Anybody there is willing to help out. If you go on vacation, they're willing to cover you. They're not going to backstab you. That doesn't happen. And as a new agent or a new place, any place that you go work, you will find yourself in a lot better position if you are interviewing the person interviewing you. You'll get a good sense because people don't quit bad jobs. They quit bad managers. And most of the time, who's going to be doing the interviews? The manager.
Sure.
If they're sitting there in your interview and they're bad mouthing the help they got already, what are they going to be doing to you in 3 months?
You're absolutely right.
So I've been in interviews that did that. And I'm like, what?
That reminded me of an article I read in the last week or so. And it was talking about that it's just as important for you to interview them as it is for them to interview you. And it mentioned that when you have an opportunity when you are interviewing them, usually at the end of any interview, they'll always say, "Do you have any questions for me?" You can say, "No, I think you've answered it. I'm good," and you can walk away, and you've lost a great opportunity to make a great impression. The article gave one suggested question to ask that I thought was really good. It said, if there is one thing that the person that you're interviewing for, whoever it is you hire, there's one thing they could do that would blow you away, what is it? I think it would be a very good question to ask on an interview.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I just think that any question there means that A, you're paying attention, B, you actually have a brain, C, that.
Well, it needs to show you've also done your research. So that's not any question.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right.
So you put in the time and the effort.
I always end the interview with, I can't wait to talk to you again.
Yep.
I'm not giving them the option to not call me. I mean, sometimes if you're not the guy, they're not going to call. But I'm making sure that I'm looking them in the eye and giving them the opportunity. Hey, I can't wait to talk to you again.
And also that you believe in yourself and you believe that you are the guy and that they will call you back.
Absolutely.
You got to believe in yourself. If you don't believe in yourself, no one will.
What do we talk about today?
Yep.
You got to know your worth going into an interview too. Now, if you're a kid just starting, it's your first job, you can't go in there expecting that you have a lot of great worth to offer McDonald's or wherever you're going. But if you're a seasoned vet, you're in your 20s and you've worked a few jobs, you damn sure need to know because what would you say earlier? Nobody's going to fight for your money more than you are.
That's right.
Bottom line. So you better know what you bring to the table when you go in. Anywho, that's your advice from Uncle Jerry and Uncle Steve tonight on interview success. Woo!
Maybe Don Lemon and Tucker Carlson will listen and use this on the next interviews they go to.
I don't think Tucker. Don Lemon's never going to work again in the industry.
Yes,
I don't think. Oh, he's terrible. Who's he going to work for?
There's too many companies out there. So he's not going to have the opportunities that Tucker Carlson does. That's for sure. Tucker Carlson was the top-rated host for the top-rated news show in the business. So Lemon doesn't have those opportunities, but he'll come out fine. He will be employed by someone.
Maybe somewhere, someone. Hey, Don Lemon, if you want to get an interview on the Newsworthy podcast, give us a call. Jerry will be happy to interview when it's like to be such an amazing,
we'll be glad to bring you on.
Amazing to be the lead of such an amazing news organization. So.
I have never said anything similar.
No, but I could feel it emanating across the desk.
You absolutely can. So,
the only thing between you and Don Lemon is that tree you both hugging. I'm just saying.
Really?
Yeah.
What tree are we hugging?
That tree hugging.
What tree are we hugging?
Yeah, the big tree with an L on it. That's all.
Oh, okay. I see. So,
How's the
Wanna
babies?
talk
How's the
about-
grandbabies? Sorry.
they're doing fine.
Good.
They're doing fine. Growing. Grandkids are amazing.
Well, I was just going to say, you say they're growing, and you blink.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? That's all it takes is a blink.
Seems like it's even more true with grandkids than it was my daughter.
Sure. Well, because
But it was very true with her as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I've told you this before, but when they are little, the nights seem so long, especially when they're not feeling well and they're crying and you can't get them satisfied. But the nights seem so long and the years so short. It's very true. And it seems like it's even more true with my grandchildren than it was with my daughter.
Well, all you can do is enjoy them. I don't get to see mine nearly as much as I want. But there's going to come a time and a place for that. Absolutely.
Thankfully,
So-
mine live about a mile away from me, so I get to see them quite often.
Yeah, that's good. All right. Well, let's get into it. Let's just do it.
We already got into it a little bit.
Well,
Tucker and Don, your boys.
no, boy. I
Your
really,
boys?
I know you hate them. I know you badmouth them. And some of it's deserved. You don't like Tucker.
Tell me one thing I've said about him that's not deserved.
No. I'm just saying that you don't like him at all. And
I think it's
really,
100% deserved.
I really, really, really like Tucker Carlson. Really like him.
I'm sure you do. He's like a lot of people that you really like.
Oh, I really like
Talks out
you.
both sides of his mouth. You can't trust a friggin' thing he says. He's a known pathological liar, which is a big reason he got fired, which is the reason that I've said from the very beginning that I don't like him. I don't need people to say things that I like, but I need it to be trustworthy. I need it to be believable, and Tucker's not. That's why he lost his job.
Well, I personally believe that Fox News is imploding. I don't know. They paid out this huge sum in part because of Tucker
Huge part due to him.
and several other hosts, all of which are probably going to get the axe at some point
Yeah.
as soon as their contracts are up.
He's the fall guy, from what I've heard and read.
You think
Tucker
so?
was it. And he was far and away the biggest culprit in the fact that they knew they had lost before they went to court. That's why
Yeah.
they settled for $787 million,
stupid.
$750 million.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, they had two major lawsuits facing them. That's the small one.
Yeah.
They've still got the $2.7 billion from
my
Smartmatic
gosh.
facing them.
Smartmatic has no case though. Here's why.
They've already won.
Of all of the voting machines used in the election, Smartmatic had exactly one voting machine. They're not going to get billions of dollars.
You're missing the point. They're not going to get billions because Dominion didn't get billions. But you're missing the point. The case is already over. They've already lost the case through discovery in the Dominion case. They've lost, which is a big reason why Tucker Carlson got fired. It was proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that he didn't believe anything that he was going on air and saying night after night.
Well,
Yet he continued to do it.
Fox News lost Tucker. They also lost Dan Bongino, who were basically neck and neck, 1-1, 1-2, depending on the night, depending on the slot. Now, the Bongino thing said that was just and even he came out on Rumble, which is where he's at now, on his podcast and said, look, it was an animosity between us. We just couldn't come to terms on the money, and that was that. But still, that is a huge 1-2 loss, in my opinion.
He's not as big as O'Reilly. O'Reilly was a bigger loss.
Oh, but O'Reilly's doing fine. Bongino, I mean, all
all
these
doing
guys
fine.
are going to do just fine.
Absolutely, including Tucker.
Here's the thing that's going to blow your mind.
What?
You hit on it a little bit over dinner that he's thinking of politics, but I'm thinking you were thinking too low.
No.
There's a rumor sinking around out there that Tucker Carlson's going to be running for president.
Well,
And how exciting would that be? He fits right in with the presidents.
Well, first of all,
Or
whose
politicians,
votes
I should say.
is he going to get? Discovery has provided emails which proves that he hated Trump, thought Trump was detestable, didn't believe anything that he was going on the air and saying. But he's not going to get any liberal votes, and he has killed a ton of his conservative votes. So I don't know who they think that he would be appealing to. You?
I mean, I've
All
never.
the lies that he was proven to have told doesn't bother you a bit.
Oh, sure it does. But that's what I think you'd be a perfect pilot. How many politicians out there doesn't lie?
My question is, when they are a proven pathological liar before they're elected to office, and somebody mentions them running, you, Mr. Steve, are over here with your hand up in the air immediately. And my question is why?
Well, no, I mean, first of all, I don't trust any politician, bluntly.
So why would you reward the pathological liars by giving them your support before they even announce they're running?
We have one as president.
And do you support him?
Nope.
Of course not. So why would you support this guy?
Because it's fun. I like to get you moving.
Because it's fun.
Guess what tomorrow is?
The day after today.
Yes, it is one day that you won't get to see me, and that'll make you very sad. I'm sorry.
I probably have enough Kleenexes on hand.
I'm good. I'm glad. Tomorrow's a draft.
It's what?
The NFL draft tomorrow.
That's right.
Woo, woo. What about our boy Will Levis? Rumors are he's going number 1 overall to Jacksonville.
Think so?
Yeah. Oh, Mochi, I wish I could. There's no way that's happening tomorrow or Friday. Maybe on an outside shot Saturday, but I doubt it. Just saying. Maybe Sunday. Sunday might be good for that. Sunday afternoon.
Good
I don't know. Visiting family.
I got you.
I just want.
By the way, I thought when you said Jacksonville, Carolina Panthers have
Carolina. Yeah. My bad. Jacksonville has their quarterback.
They, Frank, what's his name, has already had a press conference the other day, and he said they know who they're picking.
Yeah, that's kind of cool how that. I like how that came about too. Him and the GM walks in and says, "Hey, who do you think of your quarterback?" He says the answer, and he says, "We're on the same page. Let's make it happen." Didn't say who it was, didn't say what it was, or where he's coming from, but I thought that was cool. That shows me an organization that has been wrought with dysfunction finally seems to be on the same page.
Discombobulation.
Yeah, they've been bad.
They have.
You don't just get to be the number 1 pick in the NFL draft without being really bad.
You can buy it.
Unless you trade for it.
Trade for it, yeah.
Aaron Rodgers is officially a Jet.
What do you think of that?
I don't care. I don't have to face him in the NFC now twice a year.
He doesn't seem to have hard feelings, which I was proud of, because what happened to him was exactly what put him into the starting position in the first place. It's what drove that. They did to him what they did to Brett Favre, right? Same deal.
Not really.
Yeah, really.
The difference
treated
is
him like crap at the end of his career, kind of under the covers, forced him out. Sure.
He has been a cancer in Green Bay for the last 2 years.
I think so.
Absolutely.
How long have they treated him as Steve? You're forgetting which.
Did they drafted a quarterback, and that's a bad thing?
And didn't even talk to him. Didn't have a conversation about his role with the organization. The fact that they were drafting a quarterback when you've got one of the best quarterbacks in the league, which 3 years ago he was.
3 years ago was 34.
When you have one of the best and Tom Brady is what? Almost 10 years above that.
Here's the difference. There's a reason that Tom Brady is the GOAT. Not everybody's
How many quarterbacks play well past the age of 34?
Not many.
Many.
37 is usually about the cap.
Okay, that's 3 years beyond where he was. My point was they didn't treat him well either, I didn't think, to be the star player of a good team. They weren't great. So you can't say that it was an absolute great, dominating team. But they were a good team with a fantastic quarterback, and they treated him like crap.
I think the only way that the Green Bay Packers treated Aaron Rodgers worse than Aaron Rodgers treated Green Bay is not getting him any receiver help.
Well, that's one thing.
That's it.
But you're forgetting that everything they did to him came first. It was only after that he began to, like, hey, guys, if this is the way this is headed, we might have a problem here.
Yeah, we want to draft your successor so they can learn from you, so you can help mentor them.
He had a problem with the way that it was brought up or not brought up to him. That's exactly what he said at the time. At least sit me down, have a conversation, and tell me what's going on. At least if you're going to draft my replacement, tell me.
Yeah,
Don't make me read about it in the news.
Well, see, that's the thing. I don't think anybody actually thought Jordan Love was ever going to replace Favre. Still don't. Jordan
why
Love's
did they
not that
draft
good
him?
of a quarterback. Sometimes you draft guys to be backups. Just saying.
No.
What?
Not the case.
Yeah.
Everything that come out of that organization was that he was 100% expected to be his replacement.
Well, that's what you're
And didn't live up
supposed
to
to
it.
say.
Oh, okay. You're supposed to piss off your NFL quarterback by drafting a guy to be his replacement, but you don't bother to sit down and tell him, hey, this is just
I'm
your
just
replacement.
saying,
That's ludicrous.
I'm
That makes
glad,
zero
I'm
sense.
glad that he's happy. I'm glad that the Jets are happy. So
You were such an Aaron Rodgers fan for many years.
never.
Okay.
Never. I've never liked Aaron Rodgers.
This is the guy. Hold on.
I
Let me tell you.
like
No.
Aaron Rodgers'
I
stats.
started this. I played with you in fantasy football for many
Sure.
years. Aaron Rodgers, year after year, would be projected to be a mid to late third round, beginning fourth round pick. And you, Mr. Steve, would take him in the first round year after year after year.
Until when?
You valued him much higher than anyone did for many. Hey, a minute ago when I said you were an Aaron Rodgers fan for many years and you denied it. Yeah, you were.
I've never liked Aaron Rodgers.
Why were you
I've
drafted the heck
always
out of
liked Aaron Rodgers' stats. There's a big difference between liking the person and liking what they do on the football
Oh, he can
field.
put up exceptional numbers, but yeah, I don't like him.
Exactly. He
Not-
can put up
not
great
a good
numbers and
quarterback.
still be a dick. I don't. That's to me where he is. I don't like the guy. I would never. If I seen Aaron Rodgers in public and he's like, "Hey, let's have a beer," I'd be like, "Nah, I'm good." Seriously, I don't like him at all.
From everything I've heard and read, since they have traded for him, are expected to do better than they have in many years.
Well, sure, they
For a
should.
guy that you said was washed up and done 2 or 3
No,
years
I'm
ago.
saying that he's at the end of his career. It makes sense from a business standpoint to have a capable backup.
100% agree. That's got nothing to do with what we're talking about. That's not why he was pissed off at them.
Yeah. I can't feel for him in any way. I don't feel for any of these guys.
You make way too much money for that.
Right. It's a business. If you don't like how the game's played, get out the game. Anyhow.
And he's never said anything but that. He's
Yeah.
not contesting that, he's not saying he was treated badly or anything. So I was glad to hear that he moved on well.
Yeah. So anyway, what you got today? What's your topic?
Well, we touched on it a little bit, but Carlson and Lemon, huge news. The fact that both was fired in the same day. A week before, if someone had asked you, what are the odds of either one of these guys getting fired? You'd be like, Lemon, maybe. He wasn't that highly rated. His numbers weren't that good.
He's an idiot.
But especially with Tucker Carlson, well, again, Tucker, a far bigger idiot, but had good numbers. He was the top-rated host for the top-rated news company. And he closed out his show on Friday afternoon, telling the people, I'll see you on Monday, and was fired over the weekend.
Was
They didn't even give him a chance to say
he was
goodbye.
actually fired while having his Monday prep meeting.
And was in the middle of renegotiating a contract.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, from everything that I've read, it came straight from Rupert Murdoch. This was not the CEO. This was not a COO's decision. This was Rupert Murdoch's decision. And there was two reasons. One we mentioned was the legal liability, that due to several factors, with the majority being him and the emails that came out during the discovery phase. Fox's lawsuit with Dominion never made it to trial. It did make it through discovery phase, and by the end of discovery phase, enough evidence had come out that it was obvious they were going to lose. With Tucker Carlson being a huge part of that. Now, again, as we mentioned, they've also got the lawsuit with Smartmatic coming up. So that was part of it. The other part was, in these emails, apparently, Tucker was also very disparaging toward Fox management and Rupert Murdoch, to the point that Murdoch was pissed enough to decide to fire the top-rated host he had.
Well,
Big news.
I'm just going to say, I'll revert back to what we just said. People don't leave bad jobs, they leave bad management. So apparently there's an emergency somewhere.
So you're saying that it was just bad management? I don't think bad management gets you the number one rated company for many, many years. I don't see it.
Do you hear that?
No, I hear that.
Okay, let me give you some background because I know the people at home are hearing that. So, a fire truck just ran up the street, and that was my dog howling with the fire truck.
She was showing them that they're not the only ones that can make very loud noises.
Oh my gosh, Eddie Spaghetti. I'm sorry. Sorry for the interruption.
No, but you seem to be insinuating that Fox has bad management. And my point is, I don't think you have the number one rated news company for the number of years that they have. Now, we got to admit, a big part of that is due to the fact that on the liberal side, there's a lot of competition. Conservative side, there's not a whole lot of competition. So that's a big part of being the number one rated host. But Fox has done pretty well for a long time. I don't know that you can do that with bad management.
Well, I feel like there's going to be a paradigm shift soon. I just
what?
do. Meaning that I think that Fox is now Glenn Beck and some of the other guys are thinking that the libs have kind of forced Fox's hand in this. And I don't necessarily agree with that.
I don't agree with that at
But
all.
I do feel like that you can't keep kicking your number one guys to the curb before that audience starts peeling off with them and going to wherever they are.
It hasn't happened so far, and they've done that many, many times in the past.
Sure.
They've not kicked the number one guy to the curb. The number one guy has left for a variety of reasons. Glenn Beck himself, why did he leave? I don't even recall now, but they didn't fire him.
It was a contract dispute. They didn't want to pay him.
When they couldn't have come to terms. Yeah. And they've lost more than one due to that reason. And sometimes some of these guys think that they're a lot better than what they are. Keep in mind, Fox was number one before Tucker Carlson, and they'll be number one after Tucker Carlson is gone. So I think sometimes these things go to their head. Same deal with Glenn Beck. They were number one before him. They were number one
Glenn
after him.
Is still at the top of his game. I absolutely
not disputing that. I'm simply saying that Glenn Beck probably asked for too much money.
Yeah. I've done that in the past.
I think we all
have. The difference
if you know your worth and you believe in yourself, you're probably going to do that every once in a while.
Yeah. The difference is I was actually worth the money I was asking.
Hi, I'm Ed Locke with USA Mortgage. Here at USA Mortgage, we view you as customer for life. That means we are with you every step of your journey to help before, during, and well after you move into your new home. Home buying can be stressful, but we are here to make the process easy. I know drive and determination with my very talented team here at USA Mortgage will make for some incredible things. You can expect to receive great customer service from me with many customized options tailored to your financial goals and needs. So if you're looking to cruise into a new home or refinance, I can be the driver that gets you there. Call or text me at 502-680-0953 to find out how to get approved. NMLS ID 448908, that's Acquisition LLC, doing business as USA Mortgage, NMLS ID 227262. This is not a commitment to lend. Additional terms and conditions apply. USA Mortgage is an equal housing opportunity.
Anywho.
So, finished up my number one. What's your number one?
Well, I have two number ones.
Okay.
Can you have two number ones, or is it just one number two? Well, for one of them, I have to wipe. So we'll go with the other one.
You have to wipe?
Yeah. One number two, two number. It was a plate. Never mind.
That was not a good joke.
It was not a good joke because you didn't catch it.
No, I caught it. I'm just wondering if I heard it correctly, but I caught it.
So,
your bathroom humor.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with two dudes talking about bathroom humor. Poop jokes go all the way. I'm just saying. Ask Jacob. Anywho. So, just the other day, we had probably the greatest scientific event that's happened in the last 30 years. Very exciting, very inspirational. And it's twofold. First of all, that's how I feel about it. Elon Musk lifted SpaceX, lifted the biggest spaceship.
The biggest rocket.
It's by far the biggest rocket that's ever launched off of the face of the earth.
For how long?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't, because it doesn't, Jerry. The whole point of this test was to launch the rocket and get to stage 2. After that, everything else above that was candy and cupcakes. That was the whole point of this test, which is why they blew it up.
They didn't blow it up.
They did blow it up.
They blew it up?
Yes.
Or it exploded?
They blew it up
Okay.
because it started coming down uncontrollably. They have that ability.
But my point was they didn't intend for it to end the way that it did.
No, it
They
was
intended
going
for it
to
to be
be
a success.
destroyed.
They didn't intend to blow it up at the very beginning of the launch.
I don't think that's accurate. This was not designed to go into space.
I'm not saying that it was, but it was exploded. They blew it up way quicker than they intended.
No,
From
it
what I
lasted way longer than they had hoped.
I thought I'd read that it ended much quicker than they had expected.
There's a reason why their entire control panel was cheering when they blew it up, as opposed to or crying. It did exactly what it was supposed to do.
Blew up. We understand. It exploded as designed.
See, this right here is why I hate the media, because because Elon Musk is involved, and the libs hate Elon Musk because of Twitter and because, all of a sudden this wealthy businessman isn't one of them. Every place you go to see, CNN, MSNBC, all of these networks are just belittling the whole project. Oh, it caused a fire on the ground, or it blew concrete chunks over here. When did we ever hear about that when NASA was blowing shit up all the time? We did.
I don't remember NASA blowing shit up all the time.
Challenger.
I'm not saying it's never happened. I'm saying all the time. I don't think it's a very fair assessment.
This rocket lifting off the ground and attaining stage 2 was the exact meaning of what the test was for. And it accomplished that wonderfully. Now, this is supposed to go into 3 stages. Stage 1, primary fare rocket, switching to stage 2, secondary rocket. Stage 3 is separation and re-landing, was the way that had that happened, they would have been ecstatic. But they were just hoping to get from stage 1, lifting the rocket past the platform and igniting the secondary boat boosters. They did both of those things. So everything after that, whatever. But it's a very exciting thing. This rocket has the ability to not only take a couple of dudes to the moon, to take enough equipment to start the process of building moon bases and so forth and so on. So that's all I got about that.
I just Googled it.
It was very exciting.
And the first headline that come up, SpaceX is grounded after rocket explosion caused extensive environmental damage.
Oh, sure. Sure.
So
Where did you get
was
that?
Planned.
Where did you get that at?
That's npr.org.
Yep, there you go. Let me go let these dogs out.
Okay. China has been the most populated country since at least 1950, and that's when the United Nations been collecting data on population. Now, I don't know if you'd heard, but that's about to change within a couple of months. India is predicted to pass China as the most populated country in the world sometime around the end of June, middle June to the middle of July, somewhere in that area. Both countries have more than 1.4 billion people together. When you add the two countries together, they make up more than 1/3 of the world's 8 billion people. To put that in perspective, when you look at the landmass of the two countries versus, the landmass of the world, China has 6.3% of the world's landmass. India has 2%. So put together, less than 10%, 8.5% of the landmass of the entire world. And yet they have more than 1/3 of the world's 8 billion people. That's a whole lot of people. Over 2.4 billion people in those two countries.
What is it?
India's projected to pass China and become the most populated country in the world.
I saw that report. Sorry about that, guys. I had to let the dog out, and I had to go to a bathroom break. I apologize. I saw that report. And I actually saw an article in regards to that, and I don't have it on my list, so I didn't pull it up and do the details. But I'll try to find it for you. That is part of China's problem. Part of China's aggression as of late is because they're concerned about the loss of population due to their own policies enacted back in the 60s and 70s. And they are very concerned of their ability to maintain superpower status because of the loss of population.
They don't have the workforce that they need.
Right. And as their workforce matures and earns money and becomes middle class, they don't have the people that are going to take the job. They are where we were not too long ago when people didn't, nobody wanted to do those jobs. And I'm using air quotes because now they're middle class and they want to keep moving up. But there's a whole lot. China is a very weird, they're in a flux right now. And it's kind of a scary thing. And I don't know how that they work themselves out of it, if that makes sense. I don't know that they can. What they didn't realize is when they put in the one child only, and then they upped it to 2 and then to 3, and now you can have as many kids as you want because of this problem. A lot of the Chinese folks decided, it's okay. I can dig with only one kid. So, anywho, I know that wasn't the article you were covering, but India is... they're having more populace, more people in half the space.
Yeah. 1/3 the space.
1/3 the space. Wow.
China has 6.3% of the world's land mass. India, 2%. So less than 1/3 of the space of China. And within the next month and a half, more people.
Now, I have a question.
Sure.
India is a very temperate climate. It is, as the globe goes, sort of like right where we are. Do they have the resources to feed that many people, or are they a net importer of food?
Oh, it's got to be a huge net importer, I would think.
I mean, that's a good market for us to exploit. Our farmers, I'm always thinking and looking out for our farmers. Let's send them some food.
By the way, not to keep running it into the ground, but I did a research, and this article, I'm sure you'll ask where it's from, comes from Politico.com, but it says that FAA has grounded SpaceX's Starship rockets as a direct result of the explosion minutes into the launch. So I don't think the FAA is going to be grounding if this is a great success, as you're saying.
I'm just saying that it was a huge success.
Then why would the Federal Aviation Administration ground?
I have no idea. No idea.
That happened on last Thursday.
Everything that I'd read up until today said from Elon Musk, from SpaceX.
Oh. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
From most people who have any direct knowledge of this program at all, said that it was a huge success.
If you Google it, that's
the
not
outlined goals of what this spaceship plan was on this test launch was completed 100%.
Then I still ask the same question. Why would the FAA ground them?
Don't know.
Anyway, what do you got next?
Well, since we're in the doldrums, let's go on and keep going. In the dead of night, night before last, according and through social media sites, as opposed to in front of hundreds of people and supporters and rockets, President Biden launched his reelection campaign in a almost incoherent speech. If you're just looking at a teleprompter and speaking into a camera, is that a speech? If there's nobody actually listening, it's kind of like if a tree falls in the forest, do anyone actually hear it?
Yeah. Aren't you so excited? We talked about this months ago, literally. Do you remember when we discussed the way early potential list of candidates?
Yeah.
That was several months ago. And we said even then that unfortunately and sadly, it was probably going to be Biden against Trump again. And as of right now,
it looks like
that's exactly what everything is pointing towards.
Yeah.
I hope we're wrong on one or both, But that's sadly what it looks like it's headed towards. And I don't like either friggin' one of them any more than I did 2020.
The why it's been a pretty given knowledge that before big appearances, they give Joe Biden a boost of vitamins to help with his. Yeah, I've seen that video.
Say what? Pretty common knowledge. Would you care to show me where you got this information? Oh, I'm sorry, Tucker Carlson. That's where he got it. Good old Tucker.
Why would you not give this man some vitamins, some energy drinks, give him some Ensure so that he can at least have a legitimate conversation with the camera?
You know that he used to stutter, right? He's not a good public speaker at all. You know, come to mind, if I ask you who were in recent time the best two presidents at public speaking, who would you say?
Probably without Obama would be first by far.
Absolutely not.
Public speaker?
Think so?
The whole reason he was elected is because he could.
Number one, without a shadow of a doubt, Ronald Reagan. Period.
Oh, absolutely.
End of discussion. Well, you just said it'd be Obama.
You said recent. I don't hardly consider Reagan recent.
Reagan. And number two would probably be Bill Clinton.
Bill's probably three for me.
You can throw Obama in there. So we're not saying people we like. We're just saying guys who are good at public speaking.
Absolutely.
On the other end of the spectrum.
Right. I didn't know you was going back as far as Reagan. I love Reagan. I still can
he was
listen.
Extremely good at it.
I can still listen to his speeches today.
Do you remember to this day what Walter Mondale, or the last that he had said when Walter Mondale realized he had lost the election?
What's that?
Think about it. It was during the debate, and Reagan uttered one comment. Yeah. Remember what he was? No matter what you guys say, I refuse to allow age to become. At the time, people were saying, "Is Reagan too old? Is he too old? Should he even be considered?" Kind of like we're saying now about Biden, right?
But, hey, Farrell, we're glad you're here, man or lady.
Absolutely.
Glad you joined us tonight.
But during one of the debates, they had kind of brought it up, and Reagan appeared to get pissed off and upset. And he was like, I refuse to allow age to become a factor in this election. We will not talk about my opponent's youth and inexperience. And everyone cracked up. The moderators, Mondale, the audience, everyone cracked up. And later, Mondale said numerous times, at that moment, he went home and told his wife, at that moment, I knew I'd lost the election. Yep. He'd won. Mm-hmm. Great public speakers. Biden is not one. George W. Bush was not one.
No.
Jimmy Carter wasn't one. Those are the opposite. But yeah.
Yeah, well, that doesn't detract his lack of public speaking. First of all, he wasn't in public. Second of all,
when you're in front of a friggin' camera that's out to the world, that is as public as you can get. It's not the matter of how many people are in the room. When your broadcast is going out to millions of people, that is as public as it gets.
But it didn't go out live, Jerry. That's the thing I'm trying to say. It was recorded. So
I don't think they're doing retakes.
You're not going to make him do retakes until he gets it right? This is a re-election.
If you know that 100 retakes and he won't get any better, why would you bother starting down that trail?
Well, because you feed him orange juice and blueberry muffins until he wakes up enough to make it happen.
Okay, Tucker.
That's what I'm saying. This was the worst presidential re-election campaign launch I've ever seen.
I didn't watch
ever. A million times again. Ever.
Why would you watch it?
Well, because it's news. It's our job.
No, that's not my job.
It was bad. It was terrible. 4 more years. Blah. Terrible. So anyway, I was severely overwhelmed with emotion and pride and joy and. I'm like you. We're running right back toward the jigsaw that is Donald Trump and is Joe Biden and is going to go again. And why?
It's sad.
Depends on who wins. Who cares? We're going to get exactly what we got, what we deserve. Who was it that said that? The American people will get who they deserve at the polls. It's just crazy to me.
I agree.
Maybe we'll get lucky and it'll be like a DeSantis Carlson ticket or something. That'd be awesome. That'd just make you happy,
Yeah.
wouldn't it? You'd be like jumping over and doing
I'm not a big
backgrounds.
fan of DeSantis and certainly not of Tucker Carlson. But at this point, I would be ecstatic to see that instead of Biden or Trump.
No kidding.
Absolutely.
No kidding.
I think your dogs are just going to bark for the whole night.
Yeah, they're
There's
having
be
that.
much you can do about it.
They're doing the Karen thing tonight.
Well, I've got another topic, but I cannot start it until Steve gets back. It's too important. I've got to see the smile on his face when he hears about the next one. You know, we in recent weeks haven't talked a lot about how much or how the ways you guys can get in contact with us. We do love to hear from each and every one of you. A couple of ways you can do that. One is to email us at newsworthywithsteveandjerry@gmail.com. The other one is our number that you can text us at area code 540-709-1318.
Yeah, absolutely. Text us, call us, not call us, text us, email us. Tell us what you want to hear in the next show. We were talking about the ghost thing from earlier. The church never has called back.
Yep.
For those who follow the show on a regular basis, knows what that's about.
The Sasquatch people would certainly know.
Yeah. We are definitely working on that. They haven't called us back. And we are still working on figuring out the best way to have guests on our show to make it work through Podbean. That's a point of contention, if you would like to say it in a nice way with us right now. But we're trying to figure that out for sure. Because I feel like that would certainly add to the show to be able to get guests in on a daily basis, on a weekly basis or whatever. And
a semi-annual basis would be nice.
Anything. Any basis.
Right now, we can't do it unless we bring them here.
Yeah, which that's okay too. But then they just fall in love with my dogs and they never want to leave. That's the problem.
Yeah, I told everyone when you left I was ready to start the next one, but couldn't until you got back.
I'm back.
I wanted you to be able to hear all of this one.
Oh, now I'm scared.
Scared of what?
Whatever it is you were getting ready to craziness you're getting ready to bring up.
Do you remember the We Build the Wall fundraising group?
Yes.
Started by Steve Bannon and some friends of his. That their purpose was they were going to have Trump pay for the wall. A co-founder of the group, Brian Kofaji, was sentenced to 51 months in prison today. Reason? He stole hundreds of thousands of dollars that was donated to that group. 2 other men have already been found guilty as well. Now, Bannon, you might be wondering what's his part in all of this. He will not be doing any time for his part in the theft. He was initially arrested. He was on a yacht in the Mediterranean. He was originally arrested and he faced federal charges. But his buddy Trump was nice enough to pardon him in the last few hours he was in office. So Steve Bannon got to go free. And he was part of the theft, all told, of millions of dollars that individuals, just Joe Blows, that was donating to try to help Trump pay for his wall.
Ain't that stupid? I cannot stand when people, when we allow greed to take over. I mean, like you say, this is Joe Blows. This is everyday folks that have a core belief that that's an issue.
Yep.
And they're trying to fix it.
I don't necessarily agree with it, but it's what they believed in. They were spending their money to help make it happen. Which
they were putting their money where their mouth is.
Absolutely. Put your money where your mouth is. They were doing that. And here Bannon and his buddies
jackwads stealing it.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And what do you think of Trump pardoning Bannon?
Well, I mean,
do you think, let me back up. Should presidential pardons be allowed? Should we get rid of that?
Yes. Yes, they should be allowed with stipulations. I don't think you should have your buddies. You should be able to.
I think everyone agrees with that, but I don't know how you would codify that law.
Because here's the way this whole kind of plays out. We didn't have a trial for President. My mind has gone blank.
What was he charged with?
Watergate.
Nixon.
Nixon, thank you. We didn't have a trial over from Nixon because he was pardoned by the next president, Gerald Ford.
Which I thought was the correct thing to do.
Because you don't
what he did
want-
was horrible, but he's
Yeah,
a freaking
right.
president.
Right.
We don't need to.
We don't do
for
that, which is why this whole thing in New York, like or hate Trump. This is stupid. And this is if you
I would
think,
agree with this. You're talking about the Bragg deal, right? What do you think about the E. Jean Carroll rape trial? I don't think he gets to walk from that. Do you? If he's found guilty,
no,
that's a different story.
Totally different. But the point is that kind of odd that you can't chat from the website. You can only do it from the app. That is kind of weird. I
Do
don't.
what?
This Feral Life made a comment. We were talking about having guests. They said that kind of odd. You can't chat from the website. You can only do it from the app, and that's been our whole thing.
Our whole contention.
Since the very
Everything
beginning
about
with
them
Podbean.
is geared towards the app. If
Yeah.
you're using the app, there's a lot of things that work that absolutely will not work
in
on
a
the
studio
website.
like we have now.
Because in our studio, we're not doing this from a phone. We're doing
Right.
it from a laptop. And yeah,
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And Farrell, this is one of the things we are rapidly approaching our 1 year at podcasting, and we are actively researching our next publisher because we want to be able to do a lot of the things that we just can't do through Podbean. And it's, Podbean, I'm sure if you're a single producer of content and you're utilizing your phone for 98% of your content, it's fine. No worries. It's good. But for what we do, we have an actual studio, we have a sound bar, we have both laptops. It simply doesn't work anymore for where we are in our growth pattern. I guess if that makes sense. But you're absolutely right. You can only do a lot of the craziness from the app, and that's just kind of how it's been.
Yep.
Now back to where we was talking about. Oh, we're
presidential pardons.
Yeah.
And all that.
I think that there's a place for it.
Yeah, probably.
I just don't know where that place is. It's kind of like executive orders. I feel like there's a place for
I
it.
agree.
But
They've gone way too far with it.
Way too far.
And that's not something new.
No.
Was it FDR?
Yeah,
I don't
absolutely.
remember. One of the old guys had a few
Yeah.
thousand.
Yeah.
Steve
During the
and I
Great
got to-
Depression.
Steve and I got to talking one time about who was the worst and who had the most.
It was
we looked it
FDR.
up, and it's thousands.
Yeah.
All the other guys are hundreds. And some of them, maybe 50. And 100, 200, 400. And we're getting pissed at, I don't remember the numbers. We're getting pissed at Trump and Bush because they had several more than the ones before them. And suddenly we look back and FDR's thousands.
Yeah, 100. I mean, just now he was kind of in a bad situation during World War II, during the Great Depression. There was a lot going on there and they didn't have cell phones back then or reliable telecommunications, really. So I kind of understand why they were bigger back in the back, but now we have instantaneous everything. We don't need those. But anywho,
for the most part, we do think that from a national security standpoint, the president does need very huge powers in case of emergencies to be able to deal with those.
Yeah.
So you have to have some stipulations that allow them. The problem is so many of the presidents just abuse the holy crap out of these privileges.
Right. It is one of those, they don't use the black and white, they use the gray.
Yeah.
They
don't use a sniper rifle, they use friggin' shotguns.
Yeah. Basically.
Everything.
And then we spend the first 2 years, every time there's a president change, undoing and redoing freaking executive orders as opposed to, it's just stupid. Anyway.
So what do you got? You want to finish it up? A little over an hour, so you get the last one.
Oh, geez. Well, I got some good news, and I got one that's really bad news. I don't know which one to do with it. All right, well, we'll keep the bad one for last, and we'll talk about what happened in Denmark this last week.
One of your favorite countries.
Yeah, we need to have a good news button. We haven't got a good news button. We need a good news button.
I think that Emu News should work fine for that.
Okay.
Emus are good.
Oh.
There we go. Oh, yeah. news.
All right. So good news happens just the other day. In Denmark, a very young girl, and you know I'm going to bring this up because I'm an avid, I love using my metal detector.
Okay.
So a young girl in a cornfield in Denmark was out there just doing her thing. Very inexpensive uh, uh, metal detector.
Oh, okay. Well, you going to say she's cornholing it or something.
Oh, no. And she... Jerry.
She's in a cornfield.
Oh, my goodness. So she's out there in the cornfield with her metal detector. And
We get the picture.
she found, this is just out of a place called Bramslev. I'm butchering that. I apologize to you folk in Denmark. Basically, she discovered 300 silver coins dating back over 1,000 years. They were a mix of Arab, Germanic, and Danish world coins. And they were probably struck sometime between the years of 970 and 980. They had crosses, they had all kinds of stuff. So it all started because she found a little ring and she kept digging around the ring and her buzzer kept going off. She thought she just found the ring. She pulled it out and it kept going off. She kept finding it. And so most people, it was very close to a particular fort that they had in Denmark. Most people think that was probably a tax or some sort of, they were coming there to do business with this money. It was probably Viking money that they had stolen and or raided for. And whatever poor guy just dropped the bag and lost it. Wow. Found over 1,000 years later. And this young lady is sitting on a silver mine, if you will.
She owned the property?
No, but she had permission to look there. So, when permission is given, they have the right to split it with whoever or keep whatever they find, really. Now, in the States, that's the way it is.
I didn't know that. I thought it belonged to the property owner.
No, not necessarily. The property owner a lot of times will say, if you find anything big, you got to split it with me. And if they say, okay, that's a legal binding contract, believe it or not, in front of the courts if something happens.
So
but
that's going to come down to
in Denmark.
Who said what?
In Denmark, I don't know that that's the case. But I'm really happy for this. And I loved when I can chit-chat about people using a metal detector and finding a small fortune. That's amazing.
If I'm not mistaken, in the United States, if it's government-owned property, they have the right to all of it, but there's a stipulation up to like $50 or $100, whatever. They don't bother with. You keep that, no problem. But beyond a certain amount, I know that. I lived in Fredericksburg, Virginia for years.
Oh, there's lots of areas over there. Civil War.
It was 50 miles south of Washington, D.C., 50 miles north of Richmond, the home of the North and the South. Ton of battles fought in that area. To this day, a ton of belt buckles and bayonets and things like that are still found in the battlefields. And you're able to use your metal detectors. They have certain stipulations on digging. You can only dig holes so big in circumference, so deep. And you're allowed to keep stuff up to a certain value. Beyond that, it's theirs.
Well, and it should be. It should be. There are certain things that should be in a museum. There are certain things that, because of the value of the historical, that they just have to be.
You would think this coin's 1,000 years old, almost fit that.
Well, most people that find these, what they usually do. Now, I'm not saying what this girl's going to do or her family's going to do, but what usually happens is they are presented on loan to a local museum for a certain number of time, and then they get them back, and then they can do what they want. Or in most cases, the museum just pays for them. That way, they get paid, and it's not gone to a private collector or whatever. But anywho, got anything else, Jerry?
Nope, I do not.
Guys, everybody who's joined us, all our new folks, we appreciate you. We appreciate you being here. Again, text us, email us, let us know what you want to hear in our show. We're approaching our 1 year, Jerry. We got to do something special for that.
I agree.
I don't know what that is, but as anyway, if you can't see the light,
Be the light.